Yeah, phase is the accumulated over time, integrated over time from the beginning of the signal, that is from the first symbol that is transmitted. H is the modulation index, and for MSK, H is half, which means that the peak frequency shift that happens from the carrier frequency is plus or minus 1 by 4th of the bit rate. So this is what is actually maintaining the continuous phase in MSK. The frequency change of quarter the bit rate ensures that the phase remains continuous at the bit symbol edges. And also this is the uh, minimum frequency change that will help in maintaining the orthogonality of the two frequencies. Two frequencies which are orthogonal can be obtained with the minimum difference of this. So that is why it is called minimum shift keying. And yeah, for because we have a normalized pulse, our phase can be calculated as for every symbol interval the phase is given by the phase of the previous symbol interval plus this, and this is the differential encoded bit, and this is the modulation index. And for MSK, the pulse is rectangular, which means that integration of that is linear to time, and we get the instantaneous phase as a linear function of time, and that is added to the phase of till the previous symbol. So this is how the simulation has been done using this. Both simulation as of MSK as frequency modulation and OQPSK has been done in this project. Though yeah, because there are no sudden changes, abrupt changes in the amplitude of the signal. There is only frequency changes, and the phase is kept continuous across the bit intervals. The spectrum is significantly improved in MSK, but still it still doesn't fall within the GSM specifications, and so a slight more improvement is also required, which is attained by Gaussian MSK. Gaussian MSK is again a minimum shift keying technique. The only difference is that the pulse stream which is used for the frequency modulation is first passed through a Gaussian low pass filter, so that the phase change in MSK happens smoothly. Gaussian filter is one of the smoothest filters that's possible, and because the frequency of the signal changes suddenly between the symbol intervals here. Suddenly it's a high frequency, and the next interval it's suddenly low frequency. So that also leads to some high frequency components, and that even that is avoided in Gaussian MSK by passing the rectangular pulse through a Gaussian low pass filter first. And so we can see that the frequency change, though the signal looks very similar to normal MSK, the change in frequency is not abrupt. The frequency changes gradually from high to low and low to high. So in a Gaussian low pass filter, this is the formula, and the alpha is a parameter that plays a very important role in determining the spectrum of the signal. Alpha is nothing but the 3 dB bandwidth and the bit interval product. 3 dB bandwidth is the desired 3 dB bandwidth in the signal, and this is the bit interval. The BT product plays a very important role in designing a Gaussian filter, and typically in GSM a value of around 0.3 is used. For Gaussian pulse, the instantaneous phase, the frequency modulation uses the same formula again, and also this holds good here, but only that the instantaneous phase because of the rectangular pulse, previously we had a linear equation, and here it is not that straightforward. It's an integration of the Gaussian pulse, which leads to some sort of Q function. So the way it is implemented is using a phi table. For this curve, the changes in instantaneous phase is pre-calculated and stored in a table, and for every symbol interval, it is the pre-calculated phases are taken and added to the phase accumulated till the previous symbol. And that's how this implementation has been done. And also I want to mention that the waveforms given here are not plotted from the simulation. I have just magnified the visual, the depiction, just so that the perception is good. It is not drawn to scale. So next, now that we have seen all the 4 types of modulation, we will see how the powers or the spectrum of the signal is calculated. For a deterministic signal, the bandwidth is just the Fourier transform. That is the maximum frequency components in the Fourier transform gives the bandwidth of a deterministic signal. But our information signals are random, so the bandwidth is given by power spectral density. Power spectral density is nothing but the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function. Given a random signal, we have to find the autocorrelation function with respect to the time difference, and then once we take the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function, we get the power spectral density. PSD gives and PSD is like Fourier transform for a deterministic signal. It plays the same role for the random signal. And pulse shape, as I told you before, the pulse shape we use in our modulation plays a major role in the power spectral density. It only determines how compact our spectrum is going to be. And this is the formula to calculate power spectral density from the pulse shape. G of t is the pulse, and G of f will be the Fourier transform of the pulse. And the baseband power spectral density, because this is calculated before modulating the carrier wave, this PSD will be around the 0 frequency, and this is the baseband PSD. And sigma is the variance of the binary sequence. For our case, we'll have equal probability of 1s and 0s, so the variance is 1. And G of t is the pulse, as I told you before. And like after modulation, we'll have the power spectral density, which we get from the autocorrelation function, that will be around the carrier frequency, and that will have its reflection in the negative frequencies also. This is how the baseband and passband power spectral density are related. And our plots from the theoretical pulse shape will be in the baseband. Our plots from the simulation, that is obtained from the autocorrelation function, that will have that will be in the passband, and I have plotted only the positive frequencies in the simulation output. So let's see the results of the simulation. Here is the PSD of QPSK and OQPSK. As I told you before, the spectral behavior of QPSK and offset QPSK are the same. This is the power spectral density from the formula baseband PSD from the rectangular pulse. We can see that as expected, it never goes to 0. It dies down very slowly, and from even in the simulation, it is over excuse me, it's around the carrier frequency, which is 4 times the bit rate. We can see that it's way high above the expected value in the GSM mask. It's supposed to come to minus 60 dB eventually, and also the 2 dB, twice the bitrate power must be around minus 30 dB, but here it's not even reached minus 20 dB. So this will not do for our wireless communication. So next we can see the PSD of MSK. You can see that there's marked improvement here. the pulse shape used the sine pulse of the MSK, and we get the baseband power spectral density here, and this is the corresponding PSD around the carrier frequency from simulation, and we can see that it has improved quite a bit. That is, the side lobes are falling down, and it is at least falling to around minus 45 dB, though it still doesn't reach the GSM mask requirements. So finally we see the GMSK. The pulse shape of the GMSK is obtained by convolution between the sine pulse of MSK and the Gaussian filter. This is used for the baseband PSD calculation, and this is the result. We can see that as per the specification, the signal falls below minus 60 dB, and also twice the bitrate power is below minus 30 dB, and here is from the simulation. The results of the PSD for Gaussian MSK depends on the alpha value or the BT product, as I told you before, and here is one of the plots, and we can see that it very much satisfies GSM mask requirements, like at around twice the bit rate it is minus 30 dB, and it eventually goes below minus 60 dB also. So GMSK is the modulation scheme that has the best spectral behavior and the most compact power spectral density, which leads to minimal adjacent channel interference. It also, as we saw before, satisfies the GSM spectral mask requirements. And apart from this, GMSK has inherited all the advantages of minimum shift keying as such, and the many advantages, some of the many advantages are listed here. Like, main thing is the constant envelope. Because of the constant envelope, it is highly tolerant to noise, and also we can use non-linear RF amplifiers, which are very cheap and very efficient also. And next is the bit error rate is same as QPSK and as BPSK, so which is the best bit error rate that can be achieved for a binary transmission. And the continuous phase is another big advantage of MSK and GMSK. Because of continuous phase, the receiver circuits can do self-synchronization. We don't need a separate pilot carrier to synchronize with the frequency. This reduces the receiver complexity and so the cost also. Even the non-linear amplifiers are very cost efficient. And finally, like MSK and GMSK, they can be considered either as coherent or non-coherent schemes. Coherent if it is considered as a phase shift keying, non-coherent if it is considered as a frequency shift keying. And so whether the receiver must use a coherent demodulator or non-coherent demodulator is user's choice as per the requirement. So this gives a flexibility in receiver design. So all these advantages and the spectral density behavior put together makes the GMSK the best choice for cellular communication, and it is used for GSM. That's the conclusion of this presentation. Thank you very much.